Hello, my name is Dinah Juarez, and I will be analyzing the California language Spanish. So, Spanish, the language sketch on Spanish, it's a Romance language belonging to the Indo-European language family. It follows a subject, verb, object, word order. Its morphological type is fusional with rich inflection, and some unique Spanish sounds uncommon in English would be ñ, the use of th as replacing certain letters in Spanish, and the non-rhotic r. And Spanish also has 5 vowels and 22 consonants. In terms of Spanish honorifics, formality is mainly marked through the use of different pronouns. So, for example, the informal second person singular distinction would be tú, and formal would be usted. Spanish is a non-endangered language, considering there's 400 million speakers worldwide, with 10 million of those speakers being in California alone. Spanish also follows the Latin script. Spanish alphabet contains one more letter than English, which would be ñ that I previously mentioned, and each letter in Spanish only has one sound. Spanish also features prodrop, which I will be discussing later in my presentation. Some quick history on Spanish in California is that Spanish first arrived in 1542 when Spaniards ventured towards Alta California, but after multiple events, such as Mexico gaining independence and the Mexican-American War in California, both Spanish and English became the official languages of the state when it became an official state in 1850. Spanish is no longer an official California language today, but it is still widely spoken in the state. So Raquel Juarez is my interviewee. She's my mom. She is 54 years old. She speaks Spanish and English fluently. She considers her dialect to be Mexican Spanish from Jalisco, Mexico, and she was born and raised in a small town named Texcoco, and she speaks both English and Spanish with various people, including her family and also people at work. This is my linguistic data that I gathered from my interview with my mom, and I will be analyzing it in terms of Spanish sounds and grammar, and I will also tie it to my sketch on Spanish that I just went over. So I'll first start with the Spanish sound system. In my data, there was one example of ñ, which I noted as being the extra letter in Spanish, in the Spanish alphabet during my sketch of Spanish. So this would be the palatal nasal ñ, and this is seen in my in the word mañanas from my word data. So here's the ñ. And the non-rhotic alveolar trill r was also mentioned in my sketch on Spanish, and although it didn't occur in my data, it's very common in Spanish. However, I did find a very similar version of this R, which would be the alveolar tap R. And this is seen in the words bailar and cantar in my word data. And my mom classifies her dialect to be Mexican Spanish, so that's why there's no TH in my word data specifically, but I did mention that TH is mainly only found in continental Spanish. Now moving on to grammar, I will be examining my data in regards to prodrop, which is a unique feature of Spanish grammar that was mentioned throughout my sketch of Spanish. So prodrop is the omission of pronouns or grammatical subjects in a sentence, and something unique that I noted in my data is depending on how I said the sentence in English, that's how my mom translated the sentence, since she speaks both English and Spanish fluently. So in these first two examples, when I place the word I after the first part of the sentence, she uses prodrop, but otherwise she doesn't. So for example, every morning, comma, I eat oatmeal. So then she uses prodrop, so todas las mañanas como avena. But then, for example, here, when I place I at the beginning of the sentence, she doesn't use prodrop. So she just says, yo camino todas las tardes. So that's interesting. I guess depending on how I say it in English, that's how she translates it. Also related to grammar would be inflection. So as mentioned during my sketch of Spanish, its morphological type is fusional, but it has rich inflection. And a fusional language would be one form of a morpheme, can simultaneously encode several meanings. But like I said, I want to focus on Spanish inflection, which is that the verb changes depending on person and number. So from my data, I will be using the word cantar. So the present tense to sing equals cantar. But when you apply inflection, it becomes the first person singular, I sing, canto. Second person singular, you sing, cantas. Third person singular, he, she sings, canta. And first person plural, we sing would be cantamos. This is also seen in my other words from my word list. So bailar, bailo, bailas, baila, and bailamos. This is my works cited page, and thank you.